Okay, in this video I'm going to go over the process of how to make a simple quiz inside the curriculum delivery system that is used by Project Lead the Way. Incidentally, that system is actually called Canvas. To generate a quiz, the way that you would do this is typically in the menu on the left-hand side. Once you're in the course that you wish to generate the quiz for, I'm in my aerospace class, click on Quizzes. Now, once you're in here, you can actually go and generate quizzes. Okay, I've got a whole bunch of them that I've created, but one of the things that I've found in general is rather than generating quizzes, I prefer to generate the questions in what's called a question bank. It makes it easier to create multiple quizzes off of the same questions. If you make a quiz, the quiz is a standalone entity and the questions are part of that. If you put them in a question bank, then what happens is they can be pulled in other quizzes and you can use them downstream. So the way you get to do that is you go to this little gear, drop down, and go to Manage Question Banks. Okay, and here you can see all the question banks that I've created for various topics and units in here. I'm going to create just a demo question bank. So clicking on Add Question Bank, it brings up a name here, and I'll put Demo Bank. Okay, press Enter here. It shows me there's no questions in. To add questions, you click on the name of the question bank that you want. I'm going to show you the three most common forms of problems that I utilize when I make quizzes. To add a question, you click on Add Question, and the first most common question that I have is multiple choice. So, for example, let's make up a simple question. Okay, as altitude increases, air density does what? Question mark. And I'm going to say it increases, or it stays the same, or it decreases. Okay, and if you have additional answer slots, you can come over, click on the trash can, and that will delete them. If you need to make additional slots, you can go ahead and click Add Another Answer, and you can add more questions as you like. What you can do at this point is, if you wish, you can give it a point value. In a question bank, when you're accessing them, it automatically can assign values for you, so I just usually leave it as 1. I press the Update Question, and now the question has been entered. I'm going to add another question, which is a multiple answer question. So we're going to drop down and here select Multiple Answers. This looks sort of like a multiple choice, but instead of radio buttons, which allows you to only select one answer, you get checkboxes, which allow you to select multiple answers. So let's add another question. Select the temperature ranges or scales that are absolute. Okay, and here we'll put in Celsius, Fahrenheit, I'll put Rankine, and now let me add another, and there's going to be Kelvin. Okay, and you select the correct answer by going back and, for example, I want this to be an answer, turn this one off, and this to be the correct answer as well. So you select the correct answers. In the previous one, I forgot to set the correct answers, so I'll show you how to go back and edit. So let's save that. As I go back here, if I wish to edit my question, all I do is come over to the pencil and click on that. As altitude increases, air density decreases. Click on this. Notice in multiple choice, it automatically selected down. Now I can update the question, and the question has been edited. The last type of question that I like to utilize is called a formula question, and this is suitable for student calculations. So click on Add Question, and I'm going to put the problem. Okay, we drop down to Formula Question. Okay, incidentally, it gives you some example information that you can look at. over here, I'll put in the question convert. I'll put square bracket T, this is going to be temperature, or TEMP, degrees centigrade to Kelvin. Okay, and you can select and superscript, okay, to make this. Now notice, because I put square bracket, a variable name, close square bracket, it now provided me with min and max ranges, and I can control how many decimal points I want. So I'm going to say maybe temperatures from 10 to 100, okay, is the range, and display them with 1 decimal point. Okay, down below is where you put the formula in. Incidentally, you can have as many formulas as you want. You can do intermediate calculations, so you can have a very complex problem. The last calculation you complete is the answer to the problem. This is a fairly simple problem, so we're going to say Kelvin equals centigrade plus 273.15. I press save, and oops, I forgot to put in the temperature, which in our case is here. So if you make a mistake, you just click on the X, that deletes your formula. So Kelvin equals temp, that's the variable we defined, plus 273.15. Now I hit save, and notice we get an answer. If I'd like to have decimal points, I can add the decimal points in the answer here. Incidentally, tell your students to what resolution you wish them to calculate. So enter your answer rounded to 1 decimal place, since that's what I've chose here. Now what you can do is tell the quiz generator how many possible combinations of values do you want. I'm going to say 10, hit generate, and here are all of the inputs and the calculated answers. Now when the students answer this question, they will basically have to calculate a number. So let's update here. I now have 3 questions that have been generated in my demo bank. I'll now show you how to go about generating a quiz utilizing the demo bank. Go to quizzes, and now we'll add a quiz. Okay. And I'm going to call this my demo quiz. Okay. Answer the following questions. Recall. And if you wish to put information such as formulas, for example, I'm going to give them the formula to convert Celsius to Kelvin. I can click on the generator, the equation generator, K equals C plus 273.15, insert equation. I now have an equation that I can give them. So if you have any information you wish to give them, you can go ahead and put that in there. Very nice equation editor is present. Some controls you have. You can shuffle the answers. So on your multiple choice, basically the answers keep changing order. You can give time limits. I always give time limits to my quizzes. If this is a practice quiz, you can say multiple attempts, keep track of the highest score. You can keep track of the latest score or the average. Okay, you can control the number of attempts if you wish to do that. Then you can also let the students see the responses. If this was an exam, I often turn that off. On practices, I turn that on. Show one question at a time. If you don't do this, all the questions show up. If you do this, then basically they're only going to see one question. You also have the ability to do things like locking, which means they can't go backwards. If you have issues with students cheating, you can show one question at a time, lock questions after answer, and it prevents them from moving backwards. So I'll turn that feature on. Then you can assign it to whoever you wish. Click on here will allow you to select whatever sections you wish. Okay, right now it's going to everyone. You can select and say the due date. Maybe it's due today. You can control when it's available from and until what date you want them to see it. So if it's today, I can make this happen, and now the students cannot access this quiz after today. Now to add the questions, we go to Questions. New Question allows you to generate questions directly in here. Okay. Again, I recommend you do them in question banks first. You can find questions which will allow you to look at your question banks and pull them in on an individual basis. Or what I like to do is use a question group. This is where you link to your question bank. Remember, I did demo, so we're going to scroll down here until we see the demo. There's our demo question bank. It has 3 questions. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to say I want to pick 3 questions, and each of them is worth 33 points each. Okay, so link to question, create group. Okay, now you can see I've created an exam that has 3 questions in it with 99. Save allows you to save this. Publish makes it available to the students. So if you're working on it, you can go and publish it, and the students will be able to access it. To see how this works, we'll go and hit Preview. Preview allows you to see how the quiz will be executed when the students take it. Okay, because we've clicked on the basically lock questions, this shows up. I press OK, begin here, and now the first question that comes up is, as altitude increases, air density basically decreases. Okay, we can move on to next. Notice I created that question first. It happened to show up first, but now it's asking me to do this conversion problem. So I'm going to go and convert 40.5. Let's bring up spreadsheet. Put that answer in. 273.15. I've given the formula. We want to add those 2 numbers up. Okay, so there is my answer. Okay, copy, paste, round to 1 decimal place. Okay, important to give them that so that they'll know to change that to a 7. We press next. And we're on our last. Select the temperature scales that are absolute. Kelvin and Rankine are the ones that are there. Now Submit Quiz is present. We click on that. And we've got our score 99 out of 100. Incidentally, when you wish to see this after it's been published, okay, when you do publish, okay, you will then have the ability to see it using SpeedGrader. You can also moderate the quiz. This is a really neat feature. When you click on Moderate, all the students' names show up, and their scores also show up. And if you needed to do something like you gave this as a final quiz and there was only 1 attempt on it, you can actually click and give additional time or additional attempts, okay, in here on the fly. So back to my quiz. That concludes this video on how to create a simple quiz using the Project Lead the Way curriculum delivery system.